Hey, YouTube people! Greetings. Today I thought it'd be kind of fun to play this guitar from the arsenal. I haven't played this one in eons. This one is an American Deluxe Series Stratocaster that I think it was a prototype actually, I got from Fender back in about 2003-ish. I used it on my Plays Well With Others record. No, actually, yeah, I played on a couple things, but the main records I played with it was the 4 Days in the South record, which we recorded down by Johnny Sandlin, who at his studio, Duct Tape Music, beautiful Decatur, Alabama. Hence the name 4 Days in the South. And I also used it a bit on the Nation Sack record. Anyway, so what's cool about it is that I kept the pickups in here. These were I think the second iteration of the, I think Sumerian Cobalt pickups. Or maybe the first iteration of those. There was a noiseless pickup they came out with after the lace sensors, and then that was in one version of the Strat Deluxe, and then this was like the second iteration. What's cool, it's got the S1 switch right here, which is indents there, and what that does basically, like if you're in the 2 or 4 position, as you go from being in parallel to being in series, I believe. I'd always use that for slide stuff because it just meets it up a little bit, you know, so we go. Sounds pretty juicy. I'm going through that Pro Junior again just for the fun of it because it's kind of a lower volume situation. Still loud as hell in here, but what are you going to do? Anyway, so this particular guitar ended up on 4 Days in the South. Good for rhythm stuff. Like one tune. If I just turn the volume again with this amp, I've got it on. I've got the volume on 8. I got the tone on around 9 for some reason. So you turn down the volume on the guitar, cleans up pretty nice. The only thing I am going through the Koch Monster pedal, but I've literally only got the delay on a little bit. Just a little bit of a. The tune on my that record called Just Can't Get There From Here, kind of a fun little progression. It goes. What's kind of cool about this is that these chords here, you know, when I was in music school, they would always discourage you from playing like the bar chord voicings because in jazz you do the shell voicings a lot of the time. So it became a hipper version to do like a G7 with just the root, the flat 7, and the 3rd. And then if you wanted to put the 13 up here with your finger, then the 9th up there. A lot of times you're just going. session one day, I remember years ago, and they were playing the demo of the tune, and the guy was doing like a voicing like this, and he was hammering on that 7th. So it's like so your G bar chord, lift up your pinky, put the pinky down on the B string there at the 6th fret. Okay, and then you hammer on these notes. I'm doing upstrokes with the pick there. So that thing I'm going downstroke, back rake, all the while doing these hammer-ons. The minor third and the major third in. Gives that. Schofield did that on a song. Sounds a little deviant. But you can also, what's cool with that chord is bend that up to the major. Actually, I take that back. It's the minor third against the 9th. Right? Sexy. There was another tune on that record where I did this thing behind the nut, where I did this kind of the beginning of the song is like, and then it goes, a song called Bored to Tears. I remember Johnny Sandlin thought that was so funny that I would write a blues song instead of, any number of different horrible themes of being screwed over by, you name it, the man, the woman, the world, the devil, vehicles, whiskey. I was just bored to tears. Anyway, so over that, I was doing this thing where I was going. So what I'm doing there is I'm doing a harmonic on the E string, A string, and D string. Actually, I guess the G string. Mostly E string, D string, and G string at the 4th fret. And then I'm grabbing the A string behind the nut. And going up a whole step down here while giving it a little dip with Mr. Wiggles down here. And then going to the 4 chord, basically doing the same thing, but now A string, D string, G string. Shit. What I'm doing there, I'm just going down here, so I'm going like a C9 with the 3rd and the bass. And then I'm hitting a harmonic up here at the, I always have to count, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. At the 19th fret, I'm doing a harmonic where I put my first finger over the 19th fret on the G string, using the pick like this. I hit that harmonic. At the same time, I'm using my ring finger to hit the high E string. So when I hit that right here, I'm hitting that note, and then when this chord goes down a half step, I'm still at the what did I say, 19th fret? What? I'm going to hit now the D string and the G string together. So I'm doing the harmonic like this on the D string, using my ring finger to hit the B string. So it's like, it's kind of cool. That's a little George Bensonism. So I'm hitting that downstroke, and then it's backstroke, back sweep. Come on. Anyway, so that record was recorded in 2003 when I got this guitar. Remember, we were doing a clinic tour. Myself on guitar for Fender, obviously, and then Johnny Clarko was on drums and Roscoe Beck was on bass. And we were going through the Southland. And I knew, again, not to throw these names out. I'm not name dropping. Some guy said, "Oh, I'm tired of name dropping names I don't know." It's like, okay. Anyway, so Johnny Sandlin, you know, he was in Hourglass with Greg and Dwayne Allman. He mastered Live at the Fillmore. He produced Brothers and Sisters record, right? So a weighty cat. And then he was like the staff producer for Capricorn Records, did everyone from Aquarium Rescue Unit to Sea Level, I think. He also did Delbert McClinton, did all kinds of people. Anyways, I met Johnny through T. Lavitz from the Dixie Dregs, who played on my first two records. And he sent our first record, actually both of our records to Johnny, and Johnny really liked them and was trying to help here and there. And so I always meant to go down there and record, but we couldn't quite get the finances straight. So there I found myself touring the South, and we had a couple days off, and we were gonna be in Alabama-ish area. So I got a hold of Johnny to just do a day of recording. And so we went in there, and he did it for the price of, I think he wanted a Roscoe Beck signature bass, because Johnny, in addition to being the drummer, he was also a bass player. So we were able to get him a bass in exchange for a day of recording. And I think the first three songs we did was this shuffle tune, Bored to Tears. Then we did a song of mine called, which I use this guitar for. Called JSK for John Stephen Koch, my youngest son. That's also on 4 Days in the South. I remember I used, actually on that tune, I believe I did the rhythm part on, he had a 63 Strat and he had a Vibrolux amp, and then I did all the overdubs, the solo and stuff with this guitar, as I recall. If I recall correctly. We had a good time recording down there. Johnny had great stories, as you would imagine. And then we returned down there to finish the record, and I went down there with Johnny C. again on drums and my buddy Tom Good on bass. And we finished that record, which came out on Mascot Pro Vogue Records in 2003. There were some cool tunes on that record. I still stand by that 100%. But it was, you know, as with everything I do, you can't tidily put it in, oh, it's a blues record. Oh, it's a rock record. Oh, it's this and that. It's just me doing my thing, man. So nowadays it really doesn't matter. But back then, if you couldn't easily pigeonhole it, if you wanted any kind of push behind you, that was Robert Plant there, by the way. You need to have to be easily categorized. Anyways, be that as it may. This was also the guitar I used to, I sat in with Les Paul. That's kind of a fun story. This would have been late 2000s. I can't remember when Les Paul died, but it was a good couple years before Les died. And an old buddy of mine by the name of John Paris, who some of you might recognize, he was the bass player for Johnny Winter from like the mid 70s through the 80s. He played bass and he played harp, great blues harp player. And he's also a great guitar player. So at some point during their sets, you know, there's a great Rock Palace performance from maybe 79-ish with that lineup with John Paris on YouTube. Johnny Winter, of course, awesome. And anyway, John Paris is from Milwaukee originally, and he was gone by the time, I mean, he's a bit older than me, but I got friendly with him through his excursions to Milwaukee, and I'd have him do my little thing at Summerfest here where I'd have different special guests, and he would do the special guest thing. And he's like, hey, if you're ever in New York, let's get together. I'll take you over to sit in with Les, because he would always sit in with Les Paul and play harmonica and sing or play guitar or whatever the case may be, but he was always there. And so I was out there doing a buddy of mine that I grew up with, ended up going, he was in law school of all things. His dad and my dad were like best buds. And he went out to New York, Joe Cassidy, and ended up being kind of a successful, not kind of, he was a very successful, and still is, and he does different stuff now, but he was a very successful Broadway actor and singer. And he always had a great voice. But he's a rocker at heart. And so after doing all of these music theater things for years and so on and so forth, and he would occasionally do gigs out there, he rented out an off-Broadway theater and was doing Joe Cassidy rock star, where it's him doing all of the rock tunes that he always used to do and wanted to do again, to let people know that he was a rocker. So he called me up and said, hey, I'll fly you out, we'll do the thing, it'll be a blast. And I was looking forward to it, because I've always wanted to hang out more in New York City. And this was an excellent opportunity, plus I love Joe. And so ended up going out there for that. But while I was out there, I got a hold of John Paris. I said, hey, John Paris, I'm going to be out there. He's like, well, I play at, I believe the sequence of events was, I got out there on a Sunday, and John was doing a Sunday night thing at B.B. King's out there. He had a house gig there. It was either Sunday or Monday. And I think the Iridium gig for Les was on Tuesday. I can't remember 100%. Anyway, so I went out to see, after I flew in, did the rehearsal with Joe's band, which was an awesome group of young musicians. They were all pit musicians on Broadway, but they were awesome. And the reason why I say that is because, a lot of people can sight read really good. Doesn't necessarily mean they're good at, the feel of more of these rocky, funky things, and they were awesome. So that went lickety-split. We had a great time. They were cool cats. And so I went out to see John Paris over at B.B. King's, and Rusty Paul was there, which was Les's son. And John had me go up and sit in, and I sat in, and we did our thing. And after I got done, Les's son Rusty was like, John, we should have this guy sit in with Dad on Tuesday. And I'm like, yes, you should. That would be good. So John's like, it's done. Let's on Tuesday night go over there. And I said, well, Tuesday night's the night I'm doing the Joe Cassidy thing. And he's like, well, when you get done, come on over for the second show, because there were 2 shows a night at the Iridium during those days. And he said, come on over. So sure enough, I got done doing the thing with Joe Cassidy, which was a blast. People dug it. It was a lot of fun. We played a bunch of cool rock tunes and whatnot. I brought this guitar out because I knew it could do all the things I needed it to do. It was noise free. If I wanted a little extra meat, I could hit that. If I needed Mr. Wiggles, I could make that happen. So I brought this guitar out, and so I ended up going to the Les Paul thing, right? So I take a cab over there, and I get in the place, and I go up to the front, and I say, I'm supposed to be on the list. I say my name. Absolutely, come on in. I'm like, crazy, man. So I walk in, and Les is playing, and they're playing that tune Chinatown. And the piano player is playing the solo, and it's epic, man. He's playing, he'd do one chorus, playing with tenths, and then he'd do block voicings, and then he'd do another version where he's just burning like, bebop licks and so on and so forth. Next thing was like kind of a stride piano thing. It was insane, right? He was going crazy. And after he gets done with this tune, after the solo, the tune ends, and Les Paul looks over at him, and you could tell it was a gag they had, but I didn't know it was a gag. He looks over at the keyboard player. It's like, my God, that was incredible. I mean, that was insane. I mean, what's going through your mind when you're playing something like that? And the keyboard player's like, well, I don't know, Les. I'm thinking about the chords. I'm thinking about scales. I'm thinking about licks. I mean, what's going through your mind when you're playing? And Les looks at it and goes, well, I'm thinking about my wife's sister. Ba, 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 ba. Funny as hell. I was like, where am I? This is surreal. So no sooner they get done playing the song than Les goes, we got some guy here from Milwaukee that's going to sit in. I'm like, what? And next thing you know, I go up there, there's John Paris. He's like, come on you're all dialed in. And I remember I went in, what amp did they have to play through? A Cyber Twin, which was funny because I knew that amp like the back of my damn hand. And so I ended up plugging into it. I got a little a little slapback thing going. And John wanted to do, John sang Mystery Train. So we started loving it. Anyways, I proceed to do all of that kind of stuff and go crazy. And after we get done with that song, Les looks over and he goes, "My God, what is it you're doing? Turn that neck over here a little bit more so I can see what the hell it is you're doing." And but I forgot to say that before I played note one, I'm sitting there, I'm standing like next to Les, and John's on the other side of me, and he looks at me and he goes, "You any good?" And I go, "I'm from Milwaukee, Les," because he's from Milwaukee. He's from Waukesha, but it's in the Milwaukee area. And he's like, "All right." And then I proceeded to play that. He's like, turn over here more so I can see what the hell it is you're doing. Let's do another one," which is a big deal because if Les didn't like you, you were gone after the first song. So then we proceeded. I think I did my song "Love Contractor," which is a good little blues song. We played that, and that was a lot of fun. And then we proceeded to hang out for the rest of the night. And we were the last people in the bar. So it was me and John and Les. And just telling stories, hanging out. And then we walked Les out. Just me, John Paris, and Les Paul walking out. We're on Times Square. We walk out. And Rusty Young pulls up the vehicle. We say goodbye to Les. We get into his vehicle. He drives away. And John Paris looks at me and I look at him and he's like, "Well, that happened." I was like, "Yes, it did." It was crazy. And then what was wild about it is that years later, after Les died, there was a local radio station here in Milwaukee called WKLH, and I would go on their the Dave and Carol show quite frequently as a guest. Tales of the Gristleman. And I would, sometimes I'd make up tunes about a particular subject of whatever happened that week, and I'd tell stories from being on the road, and I was a pretty regular guest when I was in town. And they knew about this Les Paul story. So after Les Paul died, they had me on. So I told that story again about what happened. And some guy listening was there that night and proceeded to email pictures of me playing with Les. And it's this picture of me going like this, and Les going like this, and John Paris going like this. It's like, it was the exact picture of describing that event. And then there's another cool picture of just of John and myself and Les sitting on a thing. That's when I used to wear these Hendrix dashiki Hendrix branded shirts and a backwards newsboy hat. That was kind of my thing to mitigate my skullet. I'm not completely bald up there, folks, but I always like to joke that no one needs to see my skullet, and the fact that this covers my third eye, which if it was exposed would sear your soul in two. You don't want that. I'm trying to protect people. So anyway, say what? Anyway, so that was the Les Paul story. So this guitar I haven't seen in quite a while, and I don't know, I've maybe said in a previous video, I don't really work on my own guitars. I can do neck adjustments and setups if I need to, but mostly I would just take them over to a buddy and have him do it for a long time. My buddy Jimmy and Ellie would do it, and then he closed up his shop and moved out to the stick somewhere. But I had my guitars worked on all the time, and again, when the seasons would change around here, the action would get funky. Plus, I'm traveling all over the place, it just was something that needed to be taken care of. So this neck got stripped, and you couldn't really adjust the truss rod anymore, from what I understood. And again, I'm kind of willfully ignorant on these matters. So next thing you know, I'm over at Dave's Guitars from La Crosse. It's a great store. They've got a satellite store here in Milwaukee, which is a great store. And my buddy Phil down there is a young guy, but he's a great luthier, works on guitars, and just a cool cat. And I was in there one time, and I was telling him, I was like, "Look, I got these two guitars that, the truss rods are stripped. Is there anything you can do for them?" Everyone tells me you can't. And he's like, "Oh, I got a thing I can do." And so he repaired this one, and he also repaired the neck on my blue Strat with the flame maple neck. Actually, my buddy Alex Perez from Fender made me a different neck for that guitar with the same neck profile that's just hard rock maple that doesn't have any figuring in it at all, which I had on that guitar. But I really like the original neck because I got a lot of history. A lot of things happened on the neck, so I was glad to get that fixed. So this guitar is kind of back in action again. It sounds pretty good. And again, the slide stuff is fun to do on here because that S1 switch fattens things up. But you know, really nothing special. I love the two-tone Sumbers because it's more of that early 50s kind of a look. And yeah, it's a good little guitar. And as I said, it's featured on the 4 Days of the South record, and also on the Nation Sack record. Nation Sack was a band I did with Malford Milligan, great Texas, Austin, Texas vocalist extraordinaire. And we wrote a bunch of tunes, and I played all the Strat stuff you hear on that record is pretty much this guitar or the blue one. I divided the duties up betwixt them. But I remember there was a tune called Syrup. Some people say syrup. Is it syrup or syrup? I'll let you decide, internet. And it was a fun little kind of gospel-y slide tune, and I used this guitar on that with the S1 switch in to make it a little bit more viscous. I think I used fuzz on it as well. But that's kind of a fun song. It's kind of got a New Orleans-y beat, and I played the slide. I played a slide guitar on there one time. Listen, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope you're having a good Monday. And I appreciate all the kind comments out there. It really means a lot that people are enjoying these videos. You know, for a long time I was like, oh, I can't just post videos with the phone. You need 2 cameras, and you need to have graphics, and you need to have, you know, a cool thumbnail all the time, and you need to have, you know, other things flying in and out. And then I started watching my buddy Tom Bukovac, and I was like, Tom's killing it, and it's just a cell phone camera. I'm like, I'm just going to do cell phone videos and see what happens. And I'm so glad you all are digging it. Anyways, folks, that's all there is to it today. You have a good one, and we'll see you soon. Also, I'm going live today from this very room with Turn of the Burner on bass, my son on drums at 4 p.m. Central Time on this very YouTube channel. Adios.